Yo, what up, guys? It's Flark, and I've got a different type of Coach Flarkness video for you guys today. I've recognized that in some of my other videos, they're very good for people who are already very familiar with DK as a whole, the class and the mechanics, but they just want to refine it and get to the next level. You know, play up a little bit more, find out some of the subtle mistakes or subtle differences in gameplay that they could change to go in a big way. But like probably 95% of my viewers are coming from a much lower experience than that. People who watch YouTube guides for PvP are generally coming into the class kind of fresh or from a random battleground experience or world PvP, and some of the subtleties and even the abbreviations and acronyms we use for PvP when we have all of these hundreds and thousands of games played are not going to resonate super well. So I figured I would use this opportunity. Somebody gave me some Frost DK gameplay of lower MMR, and it was like, you know, it's just twos with double DPS. Like, what are you going to use this for? I shouldn't send it. And I was like, you know what? No, send it, because I think that is a perfect opportunity for me to go over the very introductory level changes that I would make that put me in MOP, where I was a 1500 clicker, where I literally clicked my cooldowns, to a Glad player that put on a Scabbard of Kainos trinket and Warlords of Draenor and hit people with very hard obliterates with a two-handed weapon, but did it without clicking his abilities and thus got Glad. But in all seriousness, I do think there are some really fundamental changes that you can make when you're just starting a class that are more along the lines of the user interface and the add-ons that you use, and how you manage your opening rotation just in a PvP situation. So that is what this video is going to be all about. This is going to be my introductory video. So if you are looking, of course it's the 5th episode, so it's kind of like randomly in there. I wish it was more like the first. But if you are looking for a really good way to get started in PvP, we're using Frost DK for this example, because I think Frost DK is a very good introductory DK spec. It's easier. Nobody's going to argue that. I mean, it is easier. You can't. There's less buttons, there's less to do, there's less to manage. It's an easier spec. So this is a perfect time for me to give you guys an introductory level crash course on getting into PvP DK, and we'll use these games as a good representation of, okay, this is what you would change, or what you would want to do to put yourself in that next step. So let's get into it. So first off, what we're going to do before we get into gameplay itself, we will still get into it. I'm going to play a little bit here. Let's see. So recording has started. I want that to be gone. Will it? There, it's gone. Okay. And good, he grips a Pallion. Not a bad opener. So what I wanted to do is to take a look at the screen in front of us and see, okay, well, what information is being given to us, and what information do we need, and what are we missing here? So the user interface to me is a little bizarre. It's pretty. This mechanic, right, is the entire user interface, because everything else is clean, and I do like clean interfaces, so that is really good. It is a little bizarre how fancy it is. I'm not sure if he uses this for anything. For example, we have this smaller set of icons, and then they've got the bigger wheel, and then the smaller icons, and then whatever's going on over here and here. I'm sure to somebody more seasoned with user interface, you can make some sense of it, but it might just be a little bit of fanciness for fanciness' sake. That said, I'm generally not going to critique the user interface, because I play with one that works beautifully for me, and I'm not certain that it would work beautifully for anybody else. But if, to the player who this is the video footage of, if you do find yourself not knowing what CDs you have available, or having a good sense of your own health bar, or any of those problems, I might recommend doing a more traditional Blizzard UI with a bartender sort of deal, just to get your bearings straight. If that's not an issue for you, don't worry about it. That said, what I would recommend, you'll see in the top right corner of the screen here, that is default Blizzard UI. It looks like, or it's S Arena. I don't use S Arena. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and wait for this guy to get stunned, right? Which I think he has been, and he trinketed it. No, you can see the trinket on the S Arena or the UI, Blizzard UI. There's a bubble. We'll wait for him to get stunned, and then I'll go over the gameplay. This is really important. You are attacking right into a bubble there. We'll go over that later. Oh, your DH is dead. Does he get stunned at any point? You have us fixed the whole game. Okay, I'm not sure if he gets stunned, but my guess, and we'll go back here, is that this probably doesn't show DR tracking. And it's a little small and out of the way and like tucked into a corner. I don't know, do you use that properly? So you'll notice I brought this up for this exact reason. Does this work? Oh, that's beautiful. So I brought my own stream up, and I do in fact play with Gladius. And you'll notice everything, all the information that you could ever want to use, and I'm not sponsored by Gladius or anything, but this is going to sound like it, is literally directly on your screen. So you're never going to reset DRs. If you get a good habit of kind of bouncing your eyes from the middle of your screen to the right of your screen, you can kind of see, I can see my health, my target's health, if he's casting, I can see the information about them over there, and it's all kind of in that bounce mid to right, which will help with DRs and a lot of other things. So you'll notice right here, let's watch this a little bit. Right when I stun this guy, which will be his Hodge, I guess, my stun, you'll see the stun goes over him, so you won't overlap. Oh my god, I global this guy, dude. He's pain subs the DH, what an idiot. And then the stun will then come right here, and it'll show the seconds left until the DR is off. So you know that if there's ever an icon next to somebody's name, you'll know that DR is on them, which means you don't even have to be that familiar with all the different fucking icons in the game, though you should be. You'll get there for sure. All you have to do is look up there, and if you see something over on this left side here, and you can configure this any way you want, but this is the way I do it, then you know, hey, don't stun again, because you're going to reset DR and make the stun short, and then make it another 17 seconds before you can stun them fully again, as that's how diminishing returns works in World of Warcraft. The other thing you can do is you can see a lot of information, like sometimes in the midst of the 7 trillion pets from Unholy DK, like maybe both teams have an Unholy DK, it is hard to see things. Dark on lower graphic settings with Unholy Pets sometimes does get lost. I mean, right here on the screen, you can't see it that well. Of course, I could see it if I press play. But this will show CDs that are affecting the target. Barrier, Pain Sup, like I just saw at the beginning of the game. That's very valuable. You can call swaps by seeing Pain Sup on the target. Darkness, of course. So, in contrast to the S Arena topped, or maybe default Blizzard UI. Again, it's been so long since I've used them. I don't remember what they've done to the default Blizzard UI, but whatever. Tucking it away in the top right corner of your screen and not having access to a lot of the information, like what CDs are on them or what DR is being tracked on them right now, is going to put you in an awkward situation because, let's face it, I don't think that new players would have that timer always ticking in their head. So that's 17 seconds. Oh yeah, it's 3 seconds left now. So... and I can't either, so nothing against that. So I would just worry heavily about getting some of these powerful add-ons. The other powerful add-on is Omnibar. This one we know we don't have an answer for because there's nothing left on the screen. So being able to see enemy cooldowns in a really huge, big icon has helped me a ton. I fucked up my AMZ so much early, and since then, in this season, and last season, at the end of last season when we were like 2,900 3K, I missed 0 zones. It was close to it against some of the best players in the game, which is great. That was awesome. So that was a huge change for me. So getting a good placement for that, for Omnibar, and just, so what it does, I should be more explanatory here. Omnibar is going to track all of the cooldowns of the enemy team. Which is going to help you know when to play defensive, when you need to line, but most importantly, like I've said, when you need to use anti-magic zone. In 3s or even 2s, but mostly 3s situations, when you use Q into double spellcaster, spell cleaves, lock mage, lock druid, lock esprits, you're going to want to run anti-magic zone. And it doesn't just get pressed whenever you feel like you're dying. You want to do it in response to them using the cooldowns that make them do so much more damage. So you configure Omnibar. I can't go through an entire tutorial of that in a Coach Flarkness video, but you do /Omnibar and bring up the settings, and you go to the spells and you find Dark Soul, Combustion, Vendetta, and all of these other words that you've probably heard a few times if you've PvP'd a lot. And you find those spells and you make them real big, and you can scale the Omnibar. You can change all these things to your liking. Put it right around here, or here, or here, or anywhere in this free real estate, right? And when you see those CDs, adjust accordingly. You see Dark Soul, you zone. You see Combust, you zone. You don't have zone for some reason because it had to be used at a different time, you might be able to line. You can play defensive. If you know that he's walled and he has Dark Soul up, you can either grip him. You know you have to grip the next Chaos Bolt, or asphyxiate the next Chaos Bolt. Wall makes him immune to being kicked. So all of these dynamics will come into play. And of course, I'm using that kind of lingo again. That's hard to pick up on for the first time. But the bottom line is, get these add-ons that help you recognize those things, and then you will be put in a situation where that information starts flooding your head, and you'll be in a much better vantage point for learning how to react to those things accordingly. So once you get more information on your screen from Gladius and Omnibar, you'll have that stuff in your knowledge banks, and you'll be ready to start learning how to adjust and play accordingly. So just getting it there is the first step. So one more time, Gladius for DR trackers, make it real big, put it on the right side of your screen if you want to keep it like how you have this. Then you'll be able to see DR trackers, enemies' defensives on them, whether or not they have trinket like this, and their health pools and anything else, whether or not they're CC'd at the time. That's really good to know. And then get Omnibar. Target it with, you can do it with kicks if you play a healer, but you're a DK, so you don't. And you can do it with defensive CDs or offensive CDs. You can do it with any ability that you care to know about. You want to not hit into that H-Spell's bubble? Put bubble over there. Then the second you see that big shiny golden shield pop up, you won't blow any procs into it, and you'll know to swap off targets. And I know the DH was in the air, or you'll line, which you ended up doing after a couple immunes, which is fun. What happens to the best of us. So that is my initial talk of introductory PvP. Have an interface. If this works for you, again, fine. I can't really critique UI. Everybody uses a different one. The best players in the game use a different one than I do, and all sorts of players use different UI. So if this works for you, use it. But if you find yourself not having the information that you feel like you should have, like you don't know when people are dying, you don't know when you're low health, you don't know when you're overcapped on runic power, you don't know when you have CDs up, try and do a more traditional UI. You can copy mine if you want. Sometimes that doesn't really help. But if you aren't having those problems, don't worry about it. But definitely get Gladius and Omnibar and use those things to give you knowledge. Okay, so that was a lot of information before we even got into gameplay. That's why I said this was a different video. I want it to be introductory. The changes that I made that made me go from not doing super good in PvP, I did not, my mop days were very poor, to doing a lot better in PvP and getting titles with my good friends, and then getting rank 1 titles and Legion and having a blast. So Frost DK was very powerful though, don't get me wrong. So let's now take a look at the gameplay and start talking about some more introductory changes that will help people. Because again, this is just double DPS DHDK2s at low MMR. So this is a good opportunity to see, like, okay, what are those big fundamental changes we can make? So here, he grips the H-Pal in. We will want to immediately press chains after grip. It's kind of just a hand-in-hand sort of thing. Because if you're using grip to pull somebody to you in the opener, you definitely want them to be slow, especially if you grip them on your mount. So that is big. Pair grip with chains generally. He would generally freedom here, then you would stun it, and you blow one of his freedoms or even his freedom steed. The other thing, though, is in this situation, you could probably just go straight to the H-Pal. Because let's say he trinkets your stun on his freedom steed, so that's Hand of Freedom, and his little horse that makes him go real fast. And he trinkets your stun and uses another steed or just keeps going. You don't have grip now. So he can actually just walk his character away and be completely fine. I mean, you don't really have an answer for that, especially if you just use his second steed on the freedom. He's just gone. So it's actually better to just both of you mount up and go to the H-Pal than for you to grip the H-Pal into you, since the same thing was going to be accomplished. You don't care if you hit him right over here, or right over here, right over here, over there. You're hitting him in the same area. There's nothing really in twos that dictates how that's going to be different. There's going to be a lot of very subtle shit, but again, I want to try and get a really good introductory, like, decision-making video here. I think it'd be valuable. So now as we play, we're still missing that chains, and we do the setup globals here. This is where, right here at this time, you would need to empower, pillar, and remorseless. But ironically, I don't even think I would have won this game. H-Pal DH versus DH DK is just unwinnable. All he has to do is bubble, and all of your pressure goes away, because as you'll see, the DH can fly up into the air. So, ironically, it's very difficult to coach a game like this, because I couldn't personally win it. Who's going to do anything against that? Mez? Is he going to just shatter the bubble with his unfathomable skill? No, right? If the H-Pal bubbles, then they're in an enormous amount of trouble. The only thing you can do here is darkness, and have both of you sitting in it right after you get the H-Pal's bubble, and have your DH then fly up in the air after that. But that's not a lot of DK gameplay. There's really not a lot you can do personally. So hopefully we'll have more gameplay decisions in the last one. But right here, this is time for your Empower, Pillar, then Remorseless, then Chill Streak, then Blood of the Enemy. And as long as those guys are still stacked, which they are, that would be an enormous amount of damage on both. So really do want to keep Chains of Ice on the healer at all times, though. It looks like your DH just died in the first 2 seconds of the game. That's unfortunate. So there's not going to be a lot to say here. Awesome job getting bubble by yourself. It looks like that was a chill streak. You're doing 43k DPS. So like I said, it's not going to be up to you whether you win or lose. It's definitely going to be up to your DH friend, who unfortunately did nothing and died. Right? Rain from Above, Blur, and Darkness would have been great tools to live there. But you did get bubble on your own, and that looks like a insane chill streak go, because that's 50k DPS at the highest point. Then a couple globals go into bubble, but he's rained and this guy had bubbled, so you have absolutely no way to win. But just as recognizable things, definitely just keep chains on your target, and your setup globals looked really good, because otherwise I don't think you would have done that much damage. You didn't even have a partner. His partner died in 2 seconds. In fact, you're killing the H-Pal here. So 1400 MMR-ish. Good introductory point, like I said. So hopefully the next video is a game that I could win, because nobody beats H-Pal DKs, DKTH. That will be really good for us. So we'll move right along here. Now that we've got a little bit of the mechanics set up, we will, yeah, you did almost have the pally. Literally 1v2 too. That was actually not bad. I'm not even kidding. That was not bad. The H-Pal somehow got back down to 30% health or so after bubble against a Frost DK. Not the best play I've ever seen, but yes, you were dead before you did anything. However, you could Trinket Dark, or Trinket Blur Dark, or Trinket Blur Dark, and then Rain from Above. Nobody's going to give DHs any sympathy for not being able to live an opener. You have 4? You could also meta Blade Dance. So you have 4 immunity tools that would have kept you alive. Is this a Coach Flarkness for this Bats Demon Hunter now, or we'll lay off that one. All right, so right here, not mounted. So this is where these become really interesting. Double DPS has a very specific playstyle, and playing to that playstyle is your only chance to win, right? Because you're playing with a disadvantage. Their team has a healer, specifically Mistweaver, which is the best healer in the game for 2s. Your team has no healer. So they're going to win the long game every single time. If the game goes long, you lose, because you run out of CDs, but they still have a healer to heal. So you die, which means every game has to be played the same way. You acquire a target, you get to it immediately, you disrupt their setups, and you just do as much damage to that guy as possible while rotating through your defensives to keep yourself alive for as long as possible before you kill this guy. So in this situation, both of you need to be mounted, and you need to be gunning it straight across the map to the Mistweaver that's not even playing perfectly around the pillar. It looks like he's going to come right around here and be out in the opener. The second you get within 30 or 40 yards of this guy, you're going to be mounted toward him, get close in that distance, and press chains as soon as it's available. As soon as chains is available, you press it on this guy. And then you'll be able to DA, this button right here, Def's Advance, and get all the way to him while he's in the chains, and that's how you're going to start up. If I had a prediction, what's going to happen now is you guys are going to get caught slowed by this DK, and the Mistweaver is not going to get touched all game. Let's see. All right. So once again, like I said, you're caught in a very rough situation. The Mistweaver is nowhere near you, and he is the target you wanted to go, as you typed about it in chat. Now you're gripping the DK behind a pillar, but you want to go monk. So now you have no grip for a guy who has 2 rolls and a port, as well as enormous self-sustain. So you have no tools and no opener on this Mistweaver. So what you need to do is very focus on your kill target and your kill window. You guys were right. The only way you're going to win this is going monk. You're never going to kill DK with a monk free casting on him. So your only chance is to sprint at the monk, global him while the DK has to go him, right? So the DK has to walk to the Mistweaver monk to hit you guys, which means you've got a beautiful chill streak. You've got tons of cleave. He can leech off of all of his pets with his meta blade dance bullshit. You can then use dark, blur, and other fantastic CDs, and that you both have access to. AMS to stay aggressive. And that gives you your kill window. This is not a kill window. You have no kill window here now. You have no grip, you have no opener, and the DK is the only one taking damage, as well as that Mind Flight completely wasted. So now you'll watch, right? He gets a chains on you. Now how are you ever going to get to this guy? He has 2 rolls and port, and there's one of them. All right, so there's the chains. That's good. Unfortunately, you took it off with Chillbanes. I don't think I'd be running that PvP talent. And now, right, this guy's just going to slow you. So obviously this Mistweaver is not playing perfectly at 1400, but regardless of not playing perfectly, he's still completely gone, right? And it looks like he has no health either. What is it, 262k? Ah, that would have been such a freebie. So this guy has gotten you to 64% health, and this guy has not been touched by a single damaging ability yet. And that's kind of the frustrating part of not getting those openers. Now, as you try and chase this guy, right, he hasn't been touched, so he still has every CD. Once you get to him, you're already dead. You still had IBF and AMS. They were never pressed till the very end, which is the last time you want to press them. So we're just kind of waiting for the inevitable here. The Mistweaver has so little health that he almost got to half from nobody hitting him. All right. So this is perfect. This is a very good introductory game, because this one I could have won. So don't use Chillbanes, or whatever the fuck that is, Death Chill. Run Necrotic Aura, Heartstop, Delirium against Mistweavers. And what you're going to do is, once again, we're going to go back to that starting point where the gates open. Now you're going to have Heartstop. These are PvP talents, I'm saying. Again, sorry, I get a little... I use my lingo a little too quickly. If this is an introductory video, I have to be very thorough. So, in the lobby, switch your PvP talents against Monk to Heartstop Aura, Delirium, which is another name of a PvP talent, and Necrotic Aura. Then Delirium and Heartstop together, which are those two PvP talents, are going to make it so after his first 2 rolls, he won't have another one for the rest of the game, because it affects his movement abilities. So he won't have another roll for the rest of the game. That is huge for helping you connect. Secondly, get mounted and run straight at him. Get those chains like you did, but now you'll be able to keep the chains on him. That Death Chill roots him, but takes the chain slow off. So you ended up not having a slow for a long time as you saw him run and roll freely around the pillar. And don't worry about that DK. Finally, in the opener when you do connect, AMS. He's going to get thwarted by that pretty heavily because A-Bomb and Unholy Frenzy apply Festering Wounds, which are prevented. The application of them are prevented from AMS. So he actually can't get any pressure on you. It feels like you should be AMSing when you're low health, right? Because it's a defensive cooldown. You don't want to use a defensive cooldown too early. You actually do, right? And you saw how much he globaled you and how AMS when you were dead did nothing. He just finished you off. So you actually use it as preventative against most classes, especially when you're playing without a healer, rather than trying to recover, because you won't. In dampening with no healer, you're not going to recover even if you press AMS. So you use that preventative, and you use it against more than just DK. You use it against Warlock, Mage, you use it to stay on a target, you use it to play aggressive in double DPS 2s and 2s in general. So what you'll do here, right off the bat here, you're going to be mounted. You canceled it, I guess. You're going to run straight at that Mistweaver. You're going to chains him around that pillar when he comes out like that. And then you're both going to get to him, and you're going to AMS and do as much damage as you can. Then you're going to IBF, Icebound Fortitude, this ability right here. It's really good that you have these icons like this. Maybe I do like your user interface. Some of this is a little bizarre. I don't know how. But anyway, this is good because I can just point straight to them. You're going to use this to get out of the first stun because, again, you have to play aggressive, and a 30% wall while you're getting dicked on is another valuable tool to have. So these are very important things. Use your abilities proactively. In this situation, you still might have actually been given an opportunity to go Mistweaver. If you had just changed right here instead of Asphyxiate and then got to him and then Asphyxed, and then AMS'd on your way to him so he couldn't slow or set up on you. But it's just not really following the strat that you guys played out, which was actually the correct strat. And then once again, you miss the chains before the roll, and then when you do chains, you press the Death Chill. He ports it, and now he's free again. So, right, he can just run for free. He doesn't have chains on him anymore. Death Chill is really bad. It has very weird niche situational usage, but most of the time it's terrible. Just not very powerful talent. So yeah, gets hit around the pillar. Again, you guys had already lost once the opener was gone because, again, you're double DPS and you have to win early. But right around here, still have that AMS available. You'll see when it's finally pressed, right? Now, it's a panic in that Asphyxiate where you just, oh shit, IBF, AMS, and 12% health. So he's going to go right through that. He's already got all of his setups. You saw the A-bomb already put in all of its work. All of his pets are down. He was able to get necros on you. Just have to use that preventative. Because now look, you have this entire bar of debuffs. IBF and AMS popped at the same time, but it's not actually prevented. The wall, the 30% damage reduction, it's not valuable at low health because there's less damage to prevent. It's valuable at higher health because then you can prevent more damage as you lose health. So this is a really, really good introductory video. It shows how much you have to be committed to a strat, right? So thank you very much for this clip. I really, really appreciate this. This is exactly what the channel needed for this series. It shows you how you have to commit to a strat, how you have to play more aggressive and be ready in certain situations. If you just play pillar, then the DK slows you both for free, and now you can never get to the target that you wanted to hit before. Anyway, if you play back and play passively, you feel like you're playing safer, but you're actually playing more dangerously because now you have nobody to kill in time. You're not playing safer by giving them more pressure, and that actually does still apply to threes, which is a really good point. If you just let them, let's say all three of you play pillar in the beginning, and they're playing DH warrior, and they just meta right on top of your healer and triple stun you, and they just blow everything. You're playing behind the pillar and playing passively actually was more dangerous because it gave them a chance to fully set up on your team and just start doing their strategy, their kill condition. The whole point of threes and twos and really every game, RBGs even, is to disrupt the other team from getting their win condition while trying to achieve yours. That happens in RBGs, it happens in threes, it happens in twos. So if their win condition is RMX and they're doing setup goes, you need to stop them on every kidney. If their win condition is staying alive, you need to play very aggressive. So that should be really valuable. So the takeaway points for this game is staying committed to your strategy, recognizing how valuable playing aggressive can be, using the correct PvP talents. Remember Heartstop Warrior, Aura, Delirium, Necrotic Aura, and using your defensive cooldowns before it's too late, AMS and IBF, as well as keeping chains on the target earlier and not resetting chains with Death Chill, which is a trash talent. So then, obviously, the DK dies. No, AMS and IBF will not save him that low. They kept him alive, but the game's over, right? You don't recover long enough. The Mistweaver, the only reason he looked like he was so low is because he only had 260k health to start. I mean, this guy was the most undergeared player on the planet. And he bubbles himself and he's totally fine. That said, with the different opener, getting to the Mistweaver, keeping Heartstop Delirium on him, keeping him changed, and pressing Chill Streak when him and the DK are stacked in a stun would have melted that guy. You guys would have went straight through bubble. The DH's cleave would have been valuable for all the pets. Your cleave would have destroyed all the pets and the DK at the same time. The Mistweaver would have gotten globaled. So that one is winnable. And there we go. So now we'll move on and see what we got in the next one. He used army on you. Should have swapped to the DK. Nope. Nope, you were never going to kill him in 1,000 trillion years. Nope, no. It was your bad, but for different reasons. No, it was not. That's not why. So here, I'll call strat for you, and I'll go back in time and give you that information promptly. What you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to go Warlock, grip the Ardruid to you, he'll stun both, and then you'll press Chill Streak. And the Chill Streak will global both of them, and if the Ardruid gets away and trinkets, the pet will still be there on the Warlock because you're both on him, and it'll bounce between the pet and the Warlock and destroy him. And the Ardruid will have to trinket, which means you can asphyxiate him in XDR and keep tunneling the lock. So you're DH through the game because you don't want to do what he just said. You're never going to have enough single target damage to kill an Ardruid with a lock free casting on you. Frost is not good at single target pressure. It's amazing at setup goes and cleave pressure, which is why it excels so much in threes, and why whenever anybody asks me, hey, what's better in the arenas right now, I'm like, well, in threes they're both really good and have different strength. In twos you can only play Unholy, and that's why that answer is really always there. Of course you could play Frost, but it's just objectively worse because it does so well with setups and with disruption and with team utility and cleave, and none of those things really happen in twos, right? You're going to be chasing an Ardruid around and only hitting one guy, and that one guy can press Bear Form while the Warlock kills you both in 2 seconds. And I haven't watched this game, obviously. I mean, I think this is the easiest prediction I've ever made in my life. You guys wouldn't even have to... Well, I think you watched it. I think he knows what happens. If you guys go Ardruid, the Warlock kills you both. I've played enough twos games to know that. Once again, this is not the win condition, right? So what you want to do, since my strat was go lock and grip the Ardruid in, what you want to do is already start engaging on this guy. He's 1400 playing Warlock. A phenomenal comp at this rating. You know he's going to be a mess. So just get in there and start disrupting his initial go. Press chains on him. You could have even gripped the gateway, right? Mount straight to him and just start globaling him and do as much damage as you can. The great thing about going Warlock when the Ardruid is stealthed is that's a perfect time to use your setup globals because the Ardruid's not hotting him, he's not healing him. So you can do Empower, Pillar, wherever the fuck that is on your board, dude, I have no idea. There, I guess this big ass thing. So Empower, Pillar, Remorseless, and you'll have your 3 setup globals done. Then the Ardruid's going to come out of stealth because your DH is going to be Mongo Chaos striking him over and over. And right when the Ardruid does, to try and start setting up his hots, you're going to grip, stun, Chill Streak, and your setup globals are already going to be popped. Empower and Remorseless and Pillar are already going to be on him, which means you've already put 2 obliterates into this guy, and you're building that Pillar of Frost, and that means your Chill Streak, when you do the grip stun, is going to hit these guys, and they're going to get globaled, and he's going to trinket and run. It's going to be too late. The pet's still going to keep it bouncing between the Warlock and the Ardruid, and then you can stun the Ardruid half, and he's going to be dead. Okay, I know that wasn't super introductory speech, but try it. Try it to all new players watching this video. Try that. Try running at him, Chains of Ice on the Warlock, Empower, Pillar, Remorseless. Ardruid will come out of stealth to heal this guy because he doesn't have hots on him right now. You will then Death Grip the Ardruid. Chaos Nova both, hopefully, if you can have communication with your Demon Hunter. If not, you can stun the Lock or the Ardruid, or you could just stun the Ardruid, right, on your Death Grip. And then the Warlock will still be standing there because he's a Warlock. Then you're going to press this button that's tucked away in the bottom corner of the screen, Chill Streak, and it's going to bounce between the Lock and the Druid and the Lock and the Druid. Then the Druid's going to get fucking terrified. It's going to trinket and run away, and then it's going to drop between bounce between the Lock and the pet, and this guy's going to be nearly dead, and he's still not going to even have hots on him. And then you're just going to finish the job. So that was what I would like to happen. Unfortunately, that's not what's going to happen. Also, you would want to AMS in that opener, right? Because anti-magic shell will make it so you can't be peeled by his coil into fear into root. So, right, you don't need to use it defensively, because if you get coiled into root into fear, you're dead. So it is defensively. It is essentially defensively to use it aggressively. So it's very important. So there's the succubus, which you should never be using. Can't you just use imp or something? What does succubus do? It's just going to break immediately. You're going to hit both of them, right? There's the death chill root for no reason. There's the kick on incinerate. You want to save that for chaos bolt. And here's where you grip, right? So there's where you grip the archer. He came out right here, dude. He gave you this one. He gave it to you. This is where you just grip Ardruid right on top, chill streak, stun the Ardruid, and it is over. Blood of the enemy on top of that. Oh my god. But see, no empower pressed, so your setup globals are not down. Remorseless is going to fall, I think, and just not going to get any pressure. Meanwhile, the DH is half health, which would be difficult to see with the UI the way it is, but that's fine. I don't really use good party frames either, so I can't really talk on that. God, the DH needs to press Blur and Dark at a higher health bar than that. So now the Ardruid is going to press Bear Form, while this Warlock now free casts on both of you, and there's no way you have enough single target damage to kill him. And Chill Streak doesn't have any targets to bounce to except for an Infernal, where it'll just bounce back and forth between these two pets. And it's over, right? Cast Bolt 1 for the DH, Cast Bolt 2 for the DH. And now he's dead in midair. And somehow you almost soloed the Ardruid, because he's a 1400 player. But that's not the point, because you lost. Right? So that is surprisingly close. And your damage is fantastic. I don't mean to be that guy, but you might need to drop your DH, friend. It's kind of a mess. But it's just not the game-winning strategy, right? Now, this is what this guy could have done, right? See, look what he's doing. Look at what this prick is doing. You see what this prick is doing? He's pressing a movement skill and running around the pillar in circles, and there's no way you could ever touch him. If somehow he didn't emerge in the direct middle of the map, right, that's what he could have done the entire game, and he never would have even gotten that low. So your mechanics are actually really good, because your damage is very high. And look at you killing the pet, then you'll get a Death Strike proc, and you'll heal off of that. That's pretty awesome. But this game's age is over, because look at your dead corpse of a Demon Hunter over there. He needs to, one, press his cooldowns earlier. Again, this isn't a Coach Flarkness for DH, though I could certainly play that better than he did. But it is important that you do a strat that will help you guys survive as long as possible and get the win. You're doing a great job surviving against this guy. You're not going to 1v2 them, I don't think. Maybe I'm wrong. You know, could happen. But, again, your mechanics. Again, I like having this Coach Flarkness series for this reason. Generally, people have very good mechanics. Their damage is high. Their self-healing, pretty good. He even killed the pet, or tried to, for the Dark Sucker proc, and now he's lining the lock. All of these things are okay, right? But the game is way over, because there's so much more to World of Warcraft than, output. Output is fantastic. Oh, they were 1500. Output is fantastic. Oh, that was the end of it. That sucks. These are really fun. Output is fantastic. And in every game, look at your damage. Well, not that one, because you got slaughtered. But look at your damage in this one. You did 40k DPS in the beginning, right? And you kept up with the other DPS. You did some crazy chill streak. Yeah, look at that. And there's the bubble. So let's see where it gets to before the bubble. 43k. That's a good opener. Your output's good. Your mechanics are good. You seem to know what your rotation is and how to pull it off. But when getting into PvP to play at the higher level, the best thing I could say for this introductory video, all the other stuff matters more. Knowing when to AMS, knowing when to IBF, Icebound Fortitude, knowing when to get your setup globals for the most pressure, knowing what strat to do and how to commit to it, knowing what PvP talents to run in what situations. And that's where, if you guys can dive from this introductory video into the next ones, in those videos, in all my other videos, my guides, my other Coach Flarkness videos, more Coach Flarkness videos to come, that's where those subtleties would be like, okay, this is where I would do blank, will then start resonating with you. So take a look at this gameplay. and realize how situationally or how important situational awareness can be, because his output is great and his damage is great, and his mechanics and his rotation seem okay, but everything will fall short without synergy and strategy and situational awareness. And I preach those things all the time on the DK Discord, on the YouTube video, everywhere. Now, no worries about losing as DHDK to fucking Arduid Lock. They shouldn't be queuing into you guys anyway. That's crap. But those are the type of things that you want to do in 3s and 2s in every bracket that you have, and really get a feel for it. One of the things, and we can watch one right now, one of the things that you'll see in my VODs and my gameplay is just a really decisive strategy. I'll always do it because I'm doing 2s carry, so I'm playing at a similar MMR, but the games go very different. Even when I have to play double DPS all the time because I do 2s carries. So when I'm playing double DPS, games still go really different. So you'll see here, let's watch this one all the way through. You're going to see a very strict commitment to the strategy and using the CDs at the proper time to get me there. Now, this is not Frost, and I wish it was, because I have some really good Frost setups that I've done. But, whoopsie daisy. So, obviously right here my play is to go healer, and that's a no-brainer. This guy is a red, so look at his double DPS. Perfect. So I'm playing double DPS as well. Red is about as tanky as Demon Hunter. They're both fairly powerful in that way. So it would be very similar to how you guys would play this, right? And I know I'm going disc. So A-Bomb goes down the disc. I'm already using my setup globals, right? Here's Unholy Frenzy. Dark Transform's going to come next. Then right when I get to him, all of the CDs that I need to press, this works with Empower, Pillar, Remorseless. All the CDs that I need to press to start do damage are already pressed by the time I get to him. Now, as soon as I get my second to last GCD done, I'm going to chains. You can even see it highlighted. I'm pressing it. So this guy's slowed, which means everything's going to be on him. Chains of Ice to slow him. All of my offensive cooldowns. Everything's going to be ready. Then I'm going to stun. I'm going to use Apocalypse, my Blood of the Enemy, and my Wheel, and the guy's going to melt. He's going to melt through everything because it is a commitment to an opening strategy that wins you the game. So watch as the disc is now slowed with a stun on him, and I have all my offensive CDs popped. Wheels coming, Blood of the Enemy, A-Bomb, Pets, Dark Transform. Every single thing is popped within 4 seconds of the game, the gates opening. It puts you on the back foot to have your entire strategy disrupted while their strategy is perfectly in play. So while DH Disc should always beat DK Ret Pally with a gold carry, they don't beat DK Ret Pally with a gold carry because they got completely snowballed out of control. Now watch. Obviously, Wheel's going to hit him. He's still stunned. I'm going to grip him out of the barrier in the darkness. And this guy now has no barrier, no darkness, no pains up. I mean, this game's just over, right? You pet stun the penance. Now I still have kick. It was just a full commitment to the kill. And that's where that energy of just being like, okay, now I've seen people pillar hump before, so maybe we got to play passively. When you play DK especially, find a strat, commit to it, and do every button press to make that strat active. If you have to AMS to stay aggressive, you can. If you need to use your CDs on the way to the target, that's what I do. Setup globals are huge. This is a new thing to BFA too. Remember, everything used to be off the global. You would just pop a one-shotty macro, right, when you get to them, and you do that. But that's not a thing right now, and I don't think it's going to be a thing in Shadowlands either. So there you go. Hopefully, the best I can do. Again, I have a lot of terms and lingo in my head, so it's hard for me to give the perfect beginner's guide. But if you can play a few games and think about these things and rewatch the video and get the add-ons and play to those strategies and effects, that would be a really good introductory point to Frost DK. Remember, this was about Frost DK. All of these things apply to Frost DK even more. So hopefully that helps. Again, there's a lot of situational PvP talents for Frost DK, which I go over extensively in my other guides. And maybe it'll make more sense now that I've kind of analyzed it in your game. Because in my Frost DK guide, I talk about Heartstop Delirium against monks all the time. But actually knowing, like, okay, wait, what PvP talents do I run now? So now that you'll have these examples, that should kick in. So there you go. How long was that? Was that 2 hours? I don't want to look. Oh, 44 minutes. I did good. It's only 8 minutes of gameplay, and I did 44 minutes of review. No, like I said, I wanted to do, this was a different type of Coach Flarkness video. It was less game and more talk, I know, but I was hoping that if I really, really explained some of these things that I kind of take for granted, that you can use this video to hop into some of my guides or my highlight videos or more Coach Flarknesses to come. I'm going to be making one at 2400 MMR 3s, which is going to be super fun tomorrow. So hopefully that all helps. If you have any other questions, remember, I'm on the DK Discord, I'm on my stream, I'm everywhere that you could possibly look for me. I'm on the forums, I'm everywhere, so just please hit me up. I want to make my videos more accessible to newer players, but there's so much information to say that I don't know quite the best way to do that, so I was hoping this would help. This was a very rudimentary level of like when to press Empower and Pillar, and what add-ons to grab and which PvP talents to switch to. So I hope that helped. A lot of talking, I know it. But there you go, guys, and I'll try to get more Frost DK content and more high-rated content as well, and hopefully this stuff will help. So thank you guys for watching, and share it around if it helps you, and peace. Thanks.